the featured presentation, our interview with Songband, coming up right after this clip. Thanks for hanging out. Felt like I needed to start it off with a little Ozzy Osbourne. That was a clip of Songband, who is joining me through the magic of the internet. Hello! How are you guys doing? There I am, right? Okay. How are you doing today? Thanks for joining me.
Great, great.
Good.
This is Elizabeth and Ethan, the two members of Songband. And Songband, you stream on Twitch. And is it all right if I call you Songband?
Yeah.
You're joining me today from 7 hours in the future. You're in Germany, is that right?
That's how we do. Yep.
Awesome. And I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today, even though you are so far ahead. Man, you two are a musical powerhouse, super gifted, and it seems like really well practiced also. How long have you been playing?
Thank you. We've been playing together for 60 years.
Can you
60
do the math for
years.
that? Yeah,
Yeah, I've been playing with Ethan for 30 years and he's been playing with me for 30 years, so together that's 60 years.
I love it. 60 years of combined experience.
Mhm.
exactly.
Awesome. And seems like there's no sign of stopping. Everyone, you can check out their social media and the link to their website by putting in exclamation mark SB. You'll see all the Songband links in the chat. And about your website, it shows that you have some upcoming shows listed on there.
Oh yeah.
So you're still
Yeah.
active, you're still going.
Oh, big time. Yeah.
We got a couple of private events, a birthday party of a friend,
Hmm.
but we also play. There's a hotel here in town, the Ritz, there where we play kind of an afternoon, evening lounge gig on the weekends.
Ooh,
So
the Ritz.
Background music.
background music,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. And so lots of regular gigs and other gigs coming up. And so I saw on your website, and I've seen you mention this on stream before as well, you sort of offer like regular arrangements, packages, if you will, like for people hiring you for gigs. And so generally you're playing either guitar and piano or banjo and accordion. Is that right?
That is correct.
It's true, except now
Yeah.
the couple gigs that we have lined up, for some reason, it's worked out that they want us to play banjo and accordion, but also sing. So we're putting together those two ideas, which normally were separate. We used to do instrumental music on banjo and accordion and singing with guitar and piano, but now
Hmm.
they want us to sing with banjo and accordion. So we're working on that now.
That's
Yeah.
a
So a
lot.
little.
And
Yeah.
so to get to that point, I mean, you mentioned playing together for 30 years. I imagine that
60.
doesn't all happen 60 years, sorry, my bad. But I imagine that all doesn't happen all at once. So it's like what instruments did you each start on?
Ah, I started as a piano player and Ethan was a classical guitarist. And that's how we met each other in this called the New World Ensemble. It was avant-garde sort of music
Oh, cool.
ensemble, and so we started there. And then Songband was a contrast to that. I got the accordion, he got the banjo, and
Yeah, the idea was so with this experimental music we were doing at the time, um, they weren't songs per se. It was pieces or free improvisations or installations or actions. And so,
Performances in the moment.
yeah, yeah. And so we've, as a sort of contrast to that, we thought, let's get some songs. And that's how we got the name. So as opposed to our other project, this was our song band,
Oh,
where we
I was
took the
just
bare
gonna
bones.
ask actually. I love the name. It's so like simple and clever, but then
Well,
no one
yeah,
else had it.
Just
Yeah.
putting it out there. That's what we do. And the way we did it was we oftentimes we're working from sheet music that you would buy
mm,
arrangements of songs, and in that sense, we might take a rock song and strip away all of what we associate with rock and roll: the
mm,
sweat, the smoke, the passion, the volume, the intensity, and we're just left with the pitches and the rhythms. And now we can arrange it however we want for our instruments and
mhm,
our situation, and get rid of the singing also, and just have the melody and the chords and
mhm.
whatever kind of spin we want to put on it musically.
It's not poetry band, it's song band.
Just a song played by a band. Yes. And so to that point, I played that first clip was an Ozzy Osbourne song, which is almost unrecognizable as an Ozzy Osbourne song. But I think it shows your true versatility that you can make those types of adaptations. So cool. I really enjoy watching it on stream.
Oh, good,
Thanks.
thanks. When we started doing background music with songs like that, for 80s
Mhm,
rock songs, for instance, it was in the 90s at a time when there had never been any 80s rock stations, any kind of retro stations playing 80s music. It was before that.
mhm.
So we would play that stuff, and it was the first time people had heard a lot of those songs since the 80s. And I guess it had only been a decade, but it felt like a lot
Yeah.
longer. Musically and aesthetically, the world had made a paradigm shift, I think, from the 80s to the 90s. So when we brought this music back in an instrumental form, it was sort of a really fun moment for people, and people really responded to that. Later, a lot of other you started here it became almost a cliche. A lot of
Yeah.
groups started doing that, and we kind of lost interest in it for a while. But I think streaming in part has got us back
Mhm.
into it, and that's been a lot of fun.
They're crowd pleasers, right? And you have
Yeah.
a very cool, eclectic sense of style and taste in your songs that you select. And so, like you were saying, a lot of that comes from doing live shows and being able to sort of crowd test them, right? And so, uh, these songs that you play on stream, have a lot of them been played in front of people? Most of them been played in front of a live audience?
We've added a lot that have not been crowd tested since we've been streaming, but I think really we just play things that we like more than what other people like, I think.
That's
Would you
true.
say?
Although, but he makes a point, which is that we have played a lot of this
Yeah.
music before. Before we moved to Berlin, we were living in Tallahassee, Florida, and we had
Mm.
a weekly gig there for years.
7 years every Friday night.
Yeah, we kept adding songs every week until we had 700
700.
songs
Holy
or
crap.
something. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
That is
so
a lot.
now we've been slowly reintroducing a lot of that music.
Yeah.
It takes us a while to add it onto our stream, but so we've got a
Oh
backlog of music that we used to play a lot that
yeah.
we're kind of rediscovering as we go with the folks on Twitch.
Man, that's a lot to keep track of. And
Exactly.
welcome in, Morgan Grace TV and your Raiders. Thanks for being here.
Hey,
Appreciate you all. Lots of friends. I see Barry Copeland and Maddie Martin, Crack Mother in the chat, and more. And you contribute to like a really cool community, and you have your own community as well. But there's like a really nice group of people that we sort of all know, our mutual friends, all good people. And I really think people respond to your energy and just, again, the bare bones musicality of what you do. It's obvious you're both very professional and very practiced at this.
you're very
Thank
kind.
you.
Thank you.
And I'd
Yeah,
like to,
welcome everybody. You
yeah,
mentioned some of the folks in the community, and yeah, glad to see you all in here. That's
Mm.
great.
yeah, good to see y'all. Thanks for showing up for this. And I'm going to play you another clip to get some more context. Thanks for being here, everyone. Completely shredding on that. That's for all the Iron Maiden fans out there. Yes. Another example of like your eclectic music taste, but also, man, just brutally taking it to town on the accordion and banjo. Very cool.
Thank you.
And I was actually there for that stream, and I specifically went back to pull that clip out of that because I was so impressed by that. So cool.
Very good.
Thank you.
And Elizabeth, you on accordion, you already mentioned that you started on piano. What was the transition to accordion like? And sort of what inspired you to do that also?
Yeah. So I wanted to busk. I wanted to play out on the street,
Okay.
and can't do that with a piano. Keyboards are lame.
Yeah, can't
I
can't drag a
yeah,
piano out onto the street, right?
no. So I got an accordion. I really, at the time, I didn't know what an accordion sounded like. I was like, yeah, that's the instrument for me.
It's so
So I
cool.
bought, yeah, and I actually learned how to play it with Ethan. I've never really practiced on my own or anything. So I think that my way of playing depends on Ethan filling in the gaps.
And now she's got her own accordion students.
Oh, that's so cool. Awesome. And you know, Matty Martin's in the chat. He plays accordion as well. I don't know if you realize that, but and so it has so much character just as an instrument on its own, and you
Yeah.
play it really well too. Very cool. And it does really complement the banjo too. I'd ask the same question, like when did you like transition into banjo and get into that?
I think it must have been around the same time, although I can't remember the exact reason. So the style that I play on banjo is very similar to what the way I play guitar, as opposed to say the claw hammer banjo or traditional bluegrass technique like Earl Scruggs. So I've experimented with that and explored it, but it's a really different way of playing and a different way of thinking about music. But I like that music, but what attracted me was the very simple playing of that you hear on some of those mid 80s Tom Waits records. So the guitarist, Mark Rebo, he might play just one little line on the banjo and it really got to me, and that made me want to play it. There's something plaintive and emotional about it in my ear, and so that's what attracted me. And I think you're right. The two instruments are very different, but they complement each other very well. It's funny because people will tell us, I hate the banjo.
Yeah, I hate the accordion.
But when I hear you two together, it works. So we'll take it.
The bad, they cancel each other out.
That's right.
Man, I love the banjo, by the way, but I completely understand it. To each their own, right? But the tone that you get out of it, just baseline tone that comes out of a banjo, awesome. And they completely work together. They give kind of an Americana feel. I know they're not the accordion's not necessarily like a baseline American instrument, but do you get that response playing in Germany? Is it like, are you an American band when you're playing in Germany? Is that sort of how people react?
Response in Germany at all.
I think I think it's really different here because in the States, I think the accordion had its heyday sort of in the first half of the 20th century. And then when the guitar became popular, it kind of fell out of favor when, rock music came up. And then, but here, I think it never really completely left.
Ah, that
There's
makes sense.
traditional folk music that still gets played. And so people here have a different relationship to it. It doesn't have the same pop that it does in the States. That's my impression.
And there's some amazing players. You hear buskers on accordion playing Vivaldi. You hear really good stuff over here.
Stepping back from the accordion, I wanted to ask you, Elizabeth, about Organ Lady.
Oh, you know about the organ lady.
Yes. And so, who is Organ Lady?
Well, organ lady is an alter ego of mine.
Ah, it's your
The organ,
superhero identity.
yeah, kind of a drag identity. Well, it's a lady, but yeah, I stole all of Songband's songs and I played them on okay, so the bar that we used to play at on Friday nights, the owner bought an organ for the second bar that he was building in the back. was kind of a space themed place. And he asked me if I would play the organ there. And I was like, okay, but I don't know how to play the organ. So give me some time, give me a key, let me practice. And I think 3 months later, we were doing that every weekend.
And what, for anyone like me who doesn't know firsthand, what was that transition like going from the piano to the organ?
Fun, awkward. I had to teach my left hand to not play on the one. I had to teach my foot to play all the bass lines. Um, but yeah, once we got those little coordination things covered, then it was cool. I like playing the organ too.
I'm always impressed by that. If you don't know him already, you might like King Corgan's stream. He plays the organ as well.
Yeah,
Those
He's a good friend of ours and a good friend
he's
of our channel.
amazing.
So yeah, he's
fantastic.
fantastic.
Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yes,
And
anyone should check out King Corgan. He's one of the best for sure.
those bass line pedals, they get me. And so I know what you mean by that. That's a lot of coordination. That's cool. Um, and so you guys don't just play Ozzy Osbourne and Iron Maiden. You play a lot of different types of music. And I have another little example of something else that I found on your YouTube channel, actually, this time. Let's check that out.
Okay.
To me, climbing over mountains and sailing overseas. One, two, three, they gonna run back to me. They always wanna come, but they never wanna leave. My exes, oh, 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 they want me. Like rose, they want me to make them know, oh, oh, they won't let go. My exes and oh, 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 they haunt me. Like rose, they want me to make them know, oh, oh, they won't let go. Exes and
Thanks for following me on that.
Sure
I
thing. Sure
decided
thing.
it should go a different way.
Yeah, you really did.
But you read my mind.
Oh man, that's so easy.
To get that.
Lovely.
And so that wasn't actually from YouTube, but that was also from your stream on Twitch. And so again, a very different type of song. It's something that I wouldn't immediately recognize, but so you must get fans from a lot of different musical genres getting into your music. Is that right? Just people from sort of the whole spectrum of music?
I don't know.
That particular clip reminds me of something someone said recently. I was just observing to Elizabeth earlier that the people on Twitch has just been shockingly supportive and friendly, and just one nice thing after another. If you look at other platforms like YouTube or Facebook, those are like the Wild West in comparison. Here, everyone is very civil and supportive. But
Yeah.
when I think it was your mom who said she has learned about music like Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden from our Twitch stream, and she's heard songs like the one we just heard.
Yeah.
She heard it for the first time, the real version, later after learning it in our stream, and she's so supportive. She was like, and invariably, your versions are better than the originals. So,
Oh
but
my God, I'm so glad she said that and you mentioned it because that's what I like to say about your stream. Songband versions of songs are the best versions of songs.
Thank you.
So cool. And I'm not the
Try.
only one who thinks so. Yeah, absolutely. And
yeah, her also thinks that.
and anyone in the chat who hasn't checked them out, stick around on their stream sometime and you will learn something, you know? Oh, and again, exclamation mark SB will bring up the links to their channels. And what are like some of your all-time favorites to cover? Do you think about it that way? Do you have favorites?
Oh, that's a difficult question.
Let me answer you this way. I've thought about my top 10 favorite animals.
What
It's not
are
really, yeah. Let's see.
You do one, then I do one.
You do, oh, just one, go back.
Yeah.
Okay, well, dog,
Beaver,
solid?
snake,
bunny,
ferret,
ferret,
horse,
goat,
whale,
beluga whale,
platypus,
ooh, frog,
bat.
bat.
I forgot the others, but
That's
anyway.
fine. That was very good.
True variety. A variety of tastes, just like your music. Something from every animal family in there. Got goat and fish.
Yeah. Also, hummingbird was one of them,
Oh no.
and octopus.
Oh heck yeah.
You gotta love a good octopus.
Yes.
They're so cool.
So true musicians though, not willing to give up your favorites because all of your songs are your babies, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just there are so many songs, so many great ones is how you can't choose. No.
But I think it's obvious from this chat already, if anyone's not familiar with you, is not just that you're like very professional practice musicians, but you also have a sense of humor together. And you offer that up at your shows as well. But I wanted to play a little clip this time actually from your YouTube showing off some of that for the people.
Okay.
Oh. Hey, how you doing?
Oh, hey.
Elizabeth's not here today. Would you like to sing a song?
I've been waiting for you to ask. I thought you never would.
Great, great. What do you want to do?
Fly me to the moon, maybe?
You got it.
Great.
1, 2, 3.
Fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you.
Nice.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'll call you, don't call me.
Love it. And so what's the story there? When did you start making puppets?
Why did that happen? I feel like Ethan told me you should make a puppet. And this was during the early days of the pandemic. I had nothing to do.
Okay, yeah.
We were going a little cuckoo bananas, I think.
Yeah,
I think everyone
gave
did,
you
yeah.
and that's what happened.
I love it. You guys have a great sense of humor on stream as well. When you're playing together, things will happen like flip upside down for a song, come back from
Yeah.
that.
Oh, see, the thing about the bats is Elizabeth works with bats. It's a
She
side
does too.
job, but I'm her assistant. So during bat season, we go around and record the sounds of bats. It's for an environmental project that she works for.
Oh, that's very
And so
cool.
we learned a lot about them, and
A little bit.
they kind of inform our stream and
Yeah, a
what we
little
do.
That's
That's
very
cool.
neat. Yeah. I can't imagine field recording bats. That's very cool. So you are basically a superhero, is what you're telling me.
Yes. Yes, I am.
Love it. And so I'm curious, there are, plenty of recordings online coming from like YouTube and your stream, but have you recorded like proper songs as Songband? Do you have releases or recordings?
No.
I wasn't
we
sure.
we went to the studio, and we just never finished anything.
What happened was a guy approached us at a live gig and said, "I'd love to record you guys. I have all this vintage equipment." So it was, vintage tape machines and
2-inch tape.
vintage
Big
microphones and so on. But it was very short, as I recall, shortly before we moved to Berlin. So we made the recordings, and we parted ways before we were able to put out the record. And now I don't even remember the guy's name, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't
I'd
know.
have to look back.
That's terrible.
But anyway, yeah, we never got around to putting it out.
No, and that was so long ago. There, I think we just weren't quite happy with it somehow. It needed something.
When did you make
Oh, yeah.
that move, by the way?
That was in 05.
Yeah, so
Summer of-
17 years ago, nearly.
good.
Yeah.
You got out at the right time.
Did we?
Just joking, everyone. Yeah, do you write originals to perform in front of people?
So we have some originals, but in my case, I'm not one of these singer-songwriters who are just compelled to write. So I usually, if I'm writing something, it's for a specific project. Like for instance, there's one song we played on stream a couple times that I wrote for a theater piece that I was doing music for, and they needed some music, so I wrote something for that. Or we used to, for various bands, if they needed something specific, I could provide it, but it's not I just assume play a song that I like that written by someone else. I'm not really pushing my own stuff. I don't particularly feel the need to do that, but
For example, what previous project did you write some songs for?
various projects, but I think you're referring to the Pirate
I
Band.
am.
Yeah.
Did you know we were in a pirate band?
Pirate band? What is this wizardry? Pirate band? So
Yeah.
I actually got a little tip off from Ethan about this. Are you talking about the Alaskan pirate and his salty seamen?
That's the one. Yarr.
Yeah.
I
So,
love
this
that name, by the way.
Yeah, again in Tallahassee, and Captain Victor, our leader, was actually from Alaska, and it was his idea, and we thought it was pretty far fetched. I think it was actually for somebody's birthday party.
Yeah, there was.
Just putting together a few songs for a pirate themed birthday party, but people loved it, so we kept doing it, and we were on the verge of going professional.
Oh, yeah.
We've done a couple small tours
So great.
and got a lot of positive response. We were all in, but some of the other guys in the band were like, well,
can't.
I've got a job and I've got a family. I can't really do it full time. So we're like, well, we can't stick around for, just the occasional gig. So that's when we ended up coming over to Berlin.
Okay, yeah, let's give the people a sample of this. The salty seaman. So it's the Alaskan pirate and his salty seaman.
A pirate sails from port to port, we don't have time to woo. We're here today, on tomorrow, let's hurry up and screw. We love the women, those friendly, willing women, those free and lusty women we meet by the sea. Doesn't like to wait, he's not inclined to court. He'd like to have a pretty wench, but he'll take any sort. We love the women, those friendly, willing women, the free and lusty women we meet by the sea. Now some girls are prim and proper, for a pirate they're no fun. A girl who's not uptight will treat you right and make sure you get done. Now she doesn't want your money and she doesn't want your ring, and if you treat her right, hell, she'll do most anything. Now we love the women, those friendly, willing women, those free and lusty women we meet by the sea.
Amazing. Talk about that sense of humor. Holy crap. And so it started with a birthday party, and then you were just doing other shows. Like, what would people think when you did you open for bands? Was it like your own shows at venues?
Yeah, it was both. People really, really dug it.
Yeah, we did a tour with a band called Southern
Culture on the Skids.
Southern Culture on the Skids, exactly. And they were the headliners, and we were following them around. And it was like a
It
week
was
and a
so much
half,
fun.
and we
4 days.
kept the whole thing. We were full on pirate the whole trip. So
100%.
yeah, so we would
Amazing.
be like filling up the tank of gas on alongside the highway, and the other band would drive by, and they're like, "They're still dressed like pirates." What you know? So,
Did you ever make anyone walk the plank?
Oh, that was one of the songs.
yeah,
Really? All right.
yeah. Um,
And so before going too far with the band, you did manage to get some recordings out there. Are you shared a couple
yeah,
with me, but are those available out there? Like, do you have them online?
I don't know if you can still buy them, but there's two. There's one called "Come Aboard," and the other one was called "Villainy Rewarded," and that one has the two originals that I wrote. That one that you just played is one of them that I wrote. And so it turns out that the original we played traditional pirate theme music, so old sea shanties and all that, and some of them are just as salty as the ones we wrote. It was pretty rough.
Yeah.
That is
But
hilarious.
yeah, but people would show up at the shows if they didn't know it was a pirate band, and they'd be like, "What is this, pirates?" You know. But by the end, they're drinking, and somehow they've got an eye patch, and they're, you
They're
know,
cut off.
yeah.
Made
That's where we also came up with our pirate alternative to this was
Hooks up.
hooks up, like for
yes. I love that.
yeah. And by
Everyone
the end, they're all doing
hooks
that.
up for that.
Yeah, yeah.
And so cool. I could see you guys having a hook emote, by the way.
Yeah, people have asked us to play some of those
Yeah, we've
pirate
got to learn. When we learn them, then
songs on the
yeah,
stream. Yeah.
that's going to happen. Good
So
idea.
cool. And was that you on accordion in that song,
Yeah.
Elizabeth? Yes. Awesome. I love it. And but you've been in other bands as well, aside from Songband. We already talked about New World Ensemble, experimental, avant-garde. You used the phrase, Ethan, describing it from John Cage to John Zorn,
Yeah.
Right.
just the variety of things that were played. And
Yeah, it was.
I am familiar with John Cage, but actually not John Zorn, but I still appreciate it.
Yeah, he's a New York saxophone
Squawking
player
sax.
and composer, and he was all about the avant-garde scene in New York in the 80s and 90s, and he's still very productive. He ended up starting his own record label and very innovative music, and so that was our chance to explore that kind of non-vernacular music, that art music, and that song band was ultimately a kind of
Contrast.
antidote to or reaction to compliment.
Yes, compliment.
Yeah, that's
You're like, you know what? I do like playing actual songs along with this. Yeah.
yeah. That's what happened to me. So you know, we always had a group of people, an audience for that experimental music, but it was oftentimes people who were open-minded and curious rather than true fans. And so one time I remember I started playing in a rock band, and the reaction of the people in the audience was so immediate and so visceral, and they were so expressive. I was like, oh yeah, I've kind of lost that in the other kind of art music that we're doing, where people would be like, that was interesting, and I'd like
It
to
had
hear
some
more.
nice movements.
Yeah, and so whereas the rock band people were just screaming their heads off and dancing around, so I wanted to get back in touch with that you know music that I grew up with, that rock music and pop and all that.
I can tell that you feed off of that response from the audience. I'd love to see you both live at some point. That'd be amazing. Do you have any plans to play in the United States? I mean, I'd love to come to Germany, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, come and hang out in Berlin, but everybody in the chat, come on over.
Yeah.
Let's hang out.
and so
We don't
yeah,
have any to play in the States.
how does it feel like what is the difference when you're playing a live show for an audience and you're getting that response versus the chat response on stream? Like
Chat. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's more supportive than a real live audience.
Well, it's more continually, we find out a lot more information. It's more communicative, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, we get a lot more feedback in between songs from people. It's never like that at a live show. Although remember when we used to play in Tallahassee, there was one guy who came out to the show, and
He would come up between every song. Now, what was that?
yeah, between every song, he would walk across the thing and come right up to us. Now that really sounded familiar, but Okay, that's great. Yeah, I love it. You
Because
go
that's
back to,
kind of the, I mean, it's different here on Twitch. We debated whether to do this with the song title, putting it up there or not, because that was the experience of Songband that we knew was playing songs and not telling anybody what it was, and people would have to guess during the song.
And it starts to come to you when you hear like a lyric or like a melody line, and it's like, oh, that's what
Maybe,
they're doing.
yeah, maybe
yeah,
it never does, right?
Right.
yeah.
And so that's very cool though. And like so I find that you really get a sense of energy off of someone in the chat often. It's not just that you're reading text on the screen. Personalities do shine through on
They
Twitch.
do.
And so it's so cool that you guys are on. I love you. I love the stream. But back to the bands that you've been a part of. It was mentioned that you were in Tango Sur, traditional and nuevo tango.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was, you would play
I played piano in that band.
and accordion too, though, sometimes.
Just on one song.
Oh,
One
okay,
song.
okay.
We had a bandonian player. He was the band leader.
That's right.
And yeah, I played piano in there. Ethan played the classical guitar.
Yeah, so the leader actually came from Argentina,
Mm-hmm.
and it was his driving force for that, and he taught us a lot about the music.
Mm-hmm.
And wasn't that your mom's favorite?
That was my mom's favorite thing that we've ever done.
I love it. And was that in the States or was that in Germany?
That was in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. And then also I have a clip from the Jason Forrest band.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
And so that is something we'll talk about in just a second.
great.
What happened to the computer? The computer's fucking up. What happened? What's that shit? Put your fucking hands in the air! I said put your fucking hands in the air! I said put your fucking hands in the air! Put your fucking hands in the air! Put your fucking hands in the air! I said put your fucking hands in the air! The time don't fear! The time don't fear! The time don't fear! The time don't fear! Oh shit! We got the rain now, Columbia! Oh shit! Ready? Triumph and return! That's right, motherfucker! The motherfucking triumph and return of Jason Force and Tallahassee too. That's right! Here it is! That's it. That's it.
That's definitely not what I expected when I started watching this performance. And to be fair, that's not the norm for that band either. That was like an exceptional standout moment in the show that I was watching. But so Jason Forrest band. Oh, by the way, Zwyon, I thought you might like that one. Zwyon's another former interview subject, friend of CIVIC TV. I feel like that's right up his alley. So you were touring with the Jason Forrest band, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when we first moved to Berlin, our good friend Kristen,
Yeah. Kevin Blackton.
her performance name is Kevin Bleckman. You could look her up. She's fantastic
She's
electronic
awesome.
music and singer and pianist. And anyway, she had already been here for a few years and was showing us around and introducing us to some of her friends. She's very helpful to us. And she would take us to these electronic music shows where it would be a single performer with her laptop singing or playing or both. And I was really, I had never been exposed to that kind of public performance. So I was confused. I was like, well, where's the drum set? I mean, how is this? What's going on? I don't get it. How is this a band? So, but then we ended up playing with a couple groups where it was just us plus a guy and his laptop. And Jason Forrest was one of those. He was sort of known for breakcore, for getting that
Breakcore.
music. Yeah, yeah. So really fast and loud music.
Jumping.
Yes, high energy, and he did a lot with manipulation of samples.
Mm-hmm.
And matter of fact, there was one time we were coming back into town, and at the Berlin airport, and we ran into Edgar Winter, this classic rock
Amazing.
musician, and it turns out that Jason had taken a sample, a sizable chunk of his music
Did he?
for one of our songs. And we were already, before we even saw it, Edgar, we're nervous that, somebody might say, hey, that's our music. But anyway,
That
we
didn't
didn't tell him.
exactly clear.
Yeah, anyway, it worked out great.
Can't believe it.
Yeah.
So cool. So
But
you've done one of everything, basically, is what we're getting at here. And I saw, right, Elizabeth, the keytar, right?
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes,
Do you still have that keytar?
I do still have the guitar, and I really should play it more often.
yeah, she busted out on screen. On screen.
Yeah, I should.
Oh, man.
Well, I'm not good at technical things, and that involves technical things, and therefore,
That makes sense. But,
That gives room to grow, room for our stream
Big
to
room,
grow.
big room.
We have pirates ahead. Stay tuned for pirates. Stay tuned for keytar, and who knows what else.
keytar is going to do really well on Twitch, let me tell you.
I love it. It's so much fun to play the guitar.
The younger audience, they have that nostalgia for the stuff that they didn't really get to experience when it was like the rage, when like keytar was actually popular and featured on stage. People miss out on that.
Yeah. And did you know that when I got the guitar, there was one song I wanted to play on it, and it has a keyboard part that goes wee 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 wee, and now we play that song. I could do it.
You're talking about the Cars
Yeah,
song.
I'm gonna do.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just what I needed. Is that?
That was the one thing I wanted to play. Yeah.
Love it. That's awesome. And yeah, with the pitch bend on it, right? So cool. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that, seeing that on stream.
Yeah.
But
happened.
aside from those originals and collaborative things you've done, I have another clip here that is like, I guess you could call it halfway in between an original and a cover. I want to share it and then talk about it some more from YouTube.
Yeah. Sure.
The taste of food is gone. I can't smell. Will I pass on? Fatigue is what I've noticed. What I need now is a diagnosis. NFID, is this stuff infectious? Can I go out or am I being reckless? And it burns, 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 this nasty fever. I need a pain reliever. And it burns, 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 this nasty fever, this low-grade fever. Well, I hear a vaccine's coming, it's coming around the bend. Inoculation's coming, but I don't know when I'm gonna get a vaccine. You'll get a vaccine too. 95% effective, good enough for me and you. I keep my distance from the folks outside. I keep my windows open all the time. I disinfect and always sanitize. Because of facts, I'll wear a mask.
I find it's not so easy, but it's true. I'm all alone each day and weekends too. It's not great, but it's what we've got to do. Because of facts, I'll wear a mask.
It's all we ask. Just wear a mask.
I've had everything, man. I've had everything, man. Illness is my thing, man. Even had gangrene, man. A sickly scene, man. I've had everything. You know what I had?
What have you had?
I've had gonorrhea, diarrhea, rabies, scabies, SARS, and MERS, his and hers, rubella, salmonella, botulism, embolism, rheumatism, common cold, shingles, and Ebola, Lyme disease, and bubonic plague, pertussis, but I don't know what the fuss is.
I've had everything, man. I've had everything. I've had everything, man. I've had chickenpox, cowpox, monkeypox, smallpox, tallpox. Parts of me fell off. Mumps, bumps, dumps, stumps, humps, and lumps. Malaria, hysteria, encephalitis, syphilitis. Right now I'm feeling lousy.
Was somebody called Dr. Fauci?
I've had everything, man. I've had everything, man. Illness is my thing, man. I even had gangrene, man. A sickly scene, man. I've had everything. Swine flu and Ebola and all good cheer. Happy birthday, Jesus. Ain't gonna see my family this year. I'm gonna get a vaccine. You'll get a vaccine too. 95% effective. Good enough for me and you. Thanks for listening, and thanks to all the doctors, scientists, and everyone else at the NFID who's doing the work they do. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Amazing. I've had everything, man. And so, yeah, tell me more about that. What brought that song around?
Well, Ethan's dad is a doctor, fancy pants doctor.
He's actually the medical director of the National Foundation for Infectious Diseases, the NFID. And
Very
in fact,
cool.
he does a lot of work, public health related work in the media. And you can Google him, William Schaffner, and he gets yeah. So he's on CNN and all that. And so the director, the executive director of the NFID knew that his son, me, was a musician, and so she asked me if we could put together a song for their yearly event, in which their awards event. And so we said sure. So we took this medley. Or we put together this medley, and she asked us to write about infectious diseases, and it was right at the time, I believe, when it was
The
announced.
first vaccine came out, the Pfizer.
Yeah, they just
Right.
announced how effective it was, and so that was the time when we put that together. Yeah,
So cool, man. He must be busy, by the way. Yeah.
very yes, yeah.
And man, I love that. And so again, shows your sense of humor, shows the range that you have. I love the medley, but we've talked a lot about that end of things, and I want to play another clip that's sort of just the more heartfelt side of Songband. Something maybe arguably a little more serious. And let's check it out together.
Okay.
I close my eyes only for a moment, and the moment's gone. All my dreams
was.
Magical. Love it. And I really love that performance and the recording. The layering was very cool, Elizabeth.
Thank you. I did that.
Very neat. And so when can we expect you to play the piano and the accordion at the same time?
That has happened. That has happened in the past, and I would totally be up for it.
That is
With the new
wild.
mix, it might soon be possible.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to more things from your stream and just from you two in general. So cool. And I actually have something I'd like to show you that I made in honor
Oh,
of this occasion.
wow.
Ta-da!
Where? What? What am I looking
Oh,
at?
you are on a delay, but check that out on stream around now-ish. Huh? They're in another country, so there's a delay.
It's us.
That is that is my tribute to Songband.
That is
Amazing. I don't know how you did that, but that's amazing.
It's just a small token of my appreciation. I really am glad to
Thank you.
talk to you guys on stream. I really value you on Twitch and just as people in general. So cool. Yeah, there we go. There, lined
Hey,
that up.
that's so cool. Those things. You know
super
how
nice.
how you did that? I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in a video game now.
Yeah.
And by
Amazing.
the way, I'll send these over to you. You guys can, do what you will with these images. They're all yours to play with.
So,
So much
Hey,
fun. And
I have a question for you.
yes,
If you got a second. I wanted to say how much I enjoy your channel, and I love watching movies with you and your crew.
thanks, Ethan.
It reminds me so much of when I was younger and hanging out on a Saturday night with friends,
mhm,
casually watching movies, and we could just comment back and forth on it. So I really like it, and I end up watching movies that I would never have thought to choose for myself, but I still have a lot of fun with it. I'm curious. So, how many movies do you watch a week?
good question.
That's so cool. Thank you for that too, by the way. Really appreciate that. And yes, so right now, so let's see, it's a range from 6 to 8 movies a week. And so most of that is on stream. I don't really watch movies outside of stream, as you could imagine. Like I'm playing so many on stream. But
Right.
like this week I'll have played 7 movies on stream. But also, I go watch this other stream, by the way. I'm not the only person streaming movies. And every Monday night, Tremendum Labs does a movie remix where they play a full feature-length movie and glitch it out and remix it live on stream. I recommend it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Good tip.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thank you so much for saying that about like creating that like community that's just like friends hanging out and riffing on movies and just enjoying them together. Ethan, I had you come up with a suggestion for movies for today. And Elizabeth, I got to apologize. I should have asked you directly as well, but
It's fair. It's no problem. Ethan, what
it'll
it's
be
good.
a
They're good.
it'll be a future stream. We'll get
Yeah.
a day dedicated to Elizabeth from Songband.
No,
And
I'm gonna choose the
um
same.
and so Ethan, you originally asked me for, oh, the name is escaping me. It's a John Waters movie.
Desperate Living. Desperate Living.
Desperate Living, right? You have the distinction of being the first person to ask for a rated X movie for the stream.
It's bad.
I didn't know
It's
that.
bad.
Sorry about that.
So we are not going to be playing Desperate Living, but that was directed by John Waters, and we are going to play like a bunch of John Waters movies coming right up.
Oh,
And
that's super cool.
yeah, and so what about Desperate Living or just John Waters in general? What made you think of that?
There was a time I haven't watched his movies for a long time, but at one point I was a real enthusiast, and I read his book, Shock Value, which as I recall, describes his growing up and how he became a filmmaker and his passion, and it gives his point of view aesthetically. Shock Value, is the name of the book. And I got so into it that a friend of mine and I noticed that in the book, he mentions that he has a sister who lives in Boston, where I was living at the time, a sister who works at the Museum of Fine Arts, which was just in our neighborhood, and we would go there sometimes. So then we took it to the next level, and we looked up her name, and there she was, a couple blocks from where we were, where she lived. We went to her her street, her apartment building, and we were out of our minds. We almost went up to the door and just said, "Hey, can we talk about your brother?" But
That's so cool, though.
but we stopped ourselves. We came to our senses and said, we've taken this far enough. How about we just go watch a movie, leave her be? And so we did not cross the line. But yeah, I still love his movies. Yeah.
That's so fun. And I love his movies. And a couple of my favorites of his are going to play today. But I just remember, especially my brother, humongous fan, John Waters. So I appreciate that. I love that you're into that. And super cool talking to you both. Thank you for being here. Let's do it again sometime.
Right. Thank you so much for having us. This is a lot of fun.
Thank you.
I really appreciate your time. And, thanks for hanging out in the movie streams too. Definitely
love it.
Gonna have some fun hanging out with you today. And again, thank you so much. And I'll be seeing you on Twitch.
Right on. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Yeah.
Hey, maybe in Germany sometime soon too.
Yeah, make the hang.
Come on over.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Talk to you soon.
Okay, take care.